All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Holy fuck, my hair's all fucking poopy and shit. Whatever poopy means, eh? Anyways, what's going on? So this was going to be my love spells or love spell casting part 2. But before I get into that, there's one small detail I gotta hit up fucking first. And, it's actually a pretty big deal, pretty big detail. But I gotta get into that first. But I just wanted to prefix that it is still coming. I'm gonna give you all the words that I use and even some other words and letters that would benefit you to use if you're doing spellcraft. See, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If I say I am grateful that I have received such and such, I will the Humphrey Somo to be, and then my name, my magical name, and my magical sigil. That works. Fucking why change it? Straight up. I got a bunch of different programs from Frederick Xavier and a bunch of new ways to do stuff, and I add it to what already works. But I'm not just gonna stop doing what already works. I mean, I write on a candle every single night for what I want. And yesterday was Mercury Day, and I didn't make a video because it was just too much. But I had to write. I wrote in the book there that me and my wife, we have a book for issues. I wrote in that fucker for like fucking 10 pages, and it wasn't because we had an issue, it was just to give her compliments. She's gonna look at it and oh fuck, Corey's mad at Kim, what the fuck, and then she's gonna get a surprise and see how, not mad I am and how much I love her kind of thing. So, but just simply writing about that, I wrote and wrote and wrote. And I mean, I did a candle, I think, last Wednesday, right? For the Mercury Day, and I was just thanking Mercury for all the spiritual wisdom, guidance, and occult knowledge, and the ability to see through what's false and what's potentially real. See, I have a problem writing like thank you for the truth or the real information, because seriously, when it really comes down to it, what's real is subjective. What's real depends on everybody's minds. So everybody thinks the God of the Bible is real, well then it's probably real in these people's minds, and there's a thought form created, and now it actually is real. However, is that really real, or that got created because of their minds? Well, therefore it wasn't real at one point, but then it became real because they put all that energy into it, and then it filtered down into this realm. So once again, subjective. So that's my point. And I don't want to ask for real information, and then I get all the information that just everybody believes in, and then just regurgitating what everybody knows. So I want to know stuff that people don't know. I want to know stuff that will be useful to people. So that's what I ask for. I ask for knowledge, wisdom that can help guide me and the people that watch me. And I got a fuckload of information yesterday, and I watched Thunderwizard, I watched Ralph Smart's newest videos each. And from both those videos, I got a whole bunch to talk about. I filmed a little clip from Ralph talking about how it's important, because he's always bashing fear. He's always bashing fear and all that shit. And I get it. Fear is bad. You don't want to be in fear. You don't want to use fear. Don't fucking. And I said in my last video, if you are one of those people that are magical, yet you still look at coronavirus every day, and maybe it's because you're off of work and you want to stay off of work, so you like looking at it to see how bad it's getting, and you're like seeing how bad it's getting, so we're off longer. And by the way, just so you know, people like you and me, I think we have something big to do with this coronavirus, because I wanted to be off too. I didn't care how it manifested. I wanted to be off. Hence, coronavirus the first time. The second time, coronavirus wasn't bad anymore. I had to go back to work, and then I had this whole wife thing happen, which isn't my wife's character, and I wanted to be off. I didn't care. Now I got time off again. So, point is, mind finds the path of least resistance, and there's a lot of minds trying not to work. There's a lot of minds watching YouTube having the same videos, always saying, oh yeah, we shouldn't be fucking doing 9-to-5 grind and all this shit. I mean, that's just creating fucking programming in all of us that we shouldn't be working. So, path of least resistance, well, let's use this virus thing that's kind of big somewhere else, and let's, I'm not saying that's like written in stone, but anyways, point is, I say the same things about fear that Ralph does, so I'm not bashing. I don't want anybody who's looking at coronavirus and hurting people, okay? When it comes to shutting down things, I've had to realize that I potentially added to that. Obviously I didn't create it, but I added to the shutdowns potentially, and things getting worse. And this is why I try not to talk about coronavirus, because I don't want to add to it. I try not to talk about it to add to the thought form, and I definitely don't think about it unless I'm actively trying to banish a situation. But once again, I do it in a way that's not direct, because you always have that potential of bringing in the opposite unless you're really good at your spellcraft, which I think I am. But still, just to avoid the possibility, I'll just fucking generalize all viruses. The main virus right now, and everybody knows coronavirus is a virus. It's right in the fucking name. So if I'm banishing viruses, well, the first one, the biggest one, is just because, and it's just the general way. So in case you don't want to bring coronavirus to you, I mean, sometimes when you first do a spell, the opposite effect can happen. And I've seen it happen. I was talking about that whole glamour spell thing I did on my wife. Well, the day before, nothing really happened. We didn't fight, but borderline. Everything I said, she seemed to take the wrong fucking way. And then the next day, she was just like, wow. It only lasted a day, though. And, I don't know. And that's why I'm testing with this shit. So, I teach you how to do something for a day. So, if you're going to be around the person you think you want, which I don't think is a good idea to ever cast for a person, but I can give you what I did for the glamour spell, and then you can really wow them if you know you're going to be around them. Maybe it's a class in gym, or you're a kid in school. She probably shouldn't be watching my shit, or whatever the case is. So, but I'm going to talk about something before that, and it's going to be about using fear, and not necessarily in a dark way, but why suppressing the negative part of emotions is bad, is a trapping. I'm going to be talking about witchcraft in general, how spiritual people nowadays, there's a lot of spiritual people nowadays that think witches are still bad. And I'm here to tell you that if we were back in the burning times in the Inquisition, and you openly said what you believe in, whether it's just meditation, love, all this, maybe it's just new agey Ralph Smart stuff, maybe it's kind of alchemy, but because alchemy is still, so a lot of people still think alchemy is of the devil, by the way. But just so you know, you would be considered a witch, a heretic, a fucking charlatan, a sorcerer, all that shit, and you'd be condemned to death. It's the people you're hating on right now. If things were switched around, if we were in Inquisition times and people still had the right to kill people for believing in the same spiritual shit you believe in, you would be killed. And that tells you, I'm not for the government, trust me. My wife works for the government, and she recently just got a promotion, which is something I meant to talk about on my last video. And it's not something I casted for, but it's something I actively reject, banish, denied in the moment. And I'm pretty sure that added to it. And I got her to do it. First time ever I actually heard her out loud fucking do it, which is progress. And boom, we got what we wanted. Anyways, if we were in those times and you had your spiritual beliefs, we're in a time of age where you can literally go on YouTube and talk about your spiritual beliefs, and you can get oppression, and you can get a little bit of prejudice from people who don't like your point of view. Like I said, I have people sending me shit on here, and sometimes Christians telling me from the devil and shit like that, but whatever, that's nothing, bud. But there was a time, and there's still places in the world, there's places in Africa, if you are doing witchcraft or people think you're a witch, you can still be publicly executed, apparently, anyways. And this is probably like in 2011 or 12, the video, maybe 13, that Birch has, but he had a viewer that writes in saying, are they free? And he says, we're pretty free here in Santa Cruz, because that's where he was at the time. And the guy from Africa said that if he studies witchcraft and he loves Birch, but if he gets caught, and Birch doesn't say his name, or his full name because of that, but it's like if you get caught, you can still be killed. So there are still places in the world where this shit is that. And if you are someone who does astrology, or maybe even tarot, or maybe you're just starting with pendulums or some kind of muscle testing divination, if you believe in new age and being able to manipulate things on either an altar or just using affirmations or speaking things into existence, if you anything of that kind, well, you will be deemed magi, magical practitioner, witch, sorcerer, apprentice, what was the A word? Something to that effect, and you would be persecuted if you were in Africa, or if you were, back in the Inquisition in the burning times. Look it up if you don't believe me. So, Instead of hating on witches and thinking all witches are black. And even the witches that are like, I'm a white witch, or I'm a white magician, I'm not a dark black magician. It's like, if you use the dark side of the moon, the waning moon, to banish stuff out of your life, like banishing poverty so your kids don't go without, like banishing your addiction so stuff, that kind of shit stops happening, well, then you are using black magic. Black magic is just using the black moon, and everybody can use the black moon, and it's not bad to use the black moon, because I only ever use the black moon to get rid of stuff out of my reality that doesn't serve me anymore. And then I use the white moon to replace the thing I banished with the black moon. And that's all black magic is. Once again, there is baneful magic. You can do things to hurt people. And depending on the circumstance, that can be just plain wrong. But if someone keeps getting you, and there hasn't been any karmic backlash, and you think there's some power up in the sky that's supposed to get him back for you, I'm here to tell you that's not the case. And you gotta switch up your beliefs, because your programming, whatever it is telling you that there's one ultimate power that's going to get this person. I'm here to tell you there is cause and effect. But if this person fucks you over, but then helps 10 other people that he likes, he's not going to get any karma for fucking you over, because he's doing more good than bad. If anything, you're going to see him keep getting. People know these things. People know this shit. You do 5 bad acts and 5 good acts are evened out. You do 6 good acts and 2 bad acts, you got 4 good acts coming back to you if you have karma as a program in your head. Cause and effect is a real thing, so the circuit has to go around to you, no matter what. And if you believe in karma and you're doing more good acts than bad acts, then you will be able to fuck over 2 people, help 4 people, and still get the balance and good things owed to you. I'm telling you, this is that fucking simple. It comes down to your programming. So once again, if you notice that, it's like, well, if you want this person to stop, then you gotta do something. You gotta stand up for yourself. It doesn't have to be if they're sending them a spell. You gotta grow a pair of fucking teeth, face your fucking fear of fucking telling this motherfucker off for whatever reason, and grow some nuts and tell him to fuck off. Simple as that. That's magic too. It's you being able to face your fucking fears and overcome this. Well, fear is bad and hate's bad and violence is bad. It's like, yeah, it is. But sometimes it's necessary. Because, World War II, I think, was disgusting and one of the worst things that's ever happened. However, and I don't know what the narrative is. Like I said, I truly believe the winners of the wars get to write the history, and there's a lot of things that we weren't told about. But let's just say Hitler was going around killing everybody who believed in Judaism, which, once again, I don't care what the Jews may have done to my people, or whoever, Christians, or whatever the case is, but any group, religion, hating on another one and persecuting them is not fucking right. And it had to be stopped. And if they're not going to listen to reason, well, then how else do you stop them? Well, you got to use force, right? I mean, you can't just let people go around killing other people. That's wrong. And you could say, well, we'll just love them until they stop. It's like, okay, well, how many people are you going to let die? It's not that simple. Some people can't be reasoned with. So you have to sometimes go that, and you can say, well, that never would have happened if it hadn't been for this. And we can play the what if game all you want. But what if you had everything you wanted? You think you would still be in what you're in? No. If you got everything you wanted, you wouldn't be in spirituality. You'd be spending your money in a big fucking house, having a great old fucking time, saying, fuck those idiots with the law of attraction and shit, they're fucking stupid. But instead, you don't have all the money in the world, so you're trying a different way. Or it's like, well, I never wanted money anyways because I'm spiritual. It's like, fuck off. And here's the thing, you can be spiritual and get money, and it's not bad. And I truly believe that. Now, just back to the war thing, once again, the Germanic people, Germans in general, Hitler wasn't even a German, by the way, but I know and this could be what starts the war, and, fighting fire with fire and shit like that, because there's lots of things that you could say that, a long time ago, the Druids or whatever were killed by the Jewish or the Catholics or whatever was the oppressive, and it could have been just the Romans, but now they're Roman Catholic, and who knows, and maybe Hitler justified it, or maybe that was the reason, and like I said, and I don't like saying stuff about stuff that I can't prove, and here's the thing, like, I know what I read in the history books, and I know what I know my grandfather fought in the war. I know many guys, actually. I met quite a few now, with my mother-in-law being married to an ex-Canadian soldier, who is now
a vet and retired and all that. Like I've heard of quite a few people. Like the one girl, his best man, his wife, her entire family, even the girls were enlisted in World War II and all came back. I mean, the girls were doing the jobs that the men couldn't do because they all got drafted to go to the war, kind of thing. So, well, once again, I wasn't there. I don't know, and who knows? Even though a soldier's going there, they could be fighting for fucking something that's not even what they're told. And here's the story, and here's the real reason behind the story. But all that's to say that maybe someone else started it. But even if, let's say, the Jews or whoever it was at the time oppressed, I don't know if it's Jews, but whoever was the German people way back, maybe even before Christ, got oppressed by, let's just say the Jewish people or the Roman Catholic Church or whatever it was. And now, well, Hitler's like, oh, fuck this, I'm going to get them back for that. But it's like, you're not getting them back. You're getting, like, how many generations down the line back? And we can still do that today, and I'm on every minority's side when it comes to being oppressed. Like Black Lives Matter. I'm not a black man, obviously. I'm a Caucasian Canadian. I'm white Canadian. And, as far as I can tell, I don't even have any black in my DNA. Now, there is some places where my ancestors mingled with native people, but I wouldn't even go as far as say that because it would be like a fucking 1,000th going that far back. So there's no point even pretending like that's a true thing. But point is, any minority that's been oppressed, killed, slaughtered, such as most of the natives all across North America, here in Canada included, it's terrible what happened to them, and they deserve what they get and I mean that in a good way, like what the government gives them. There are no taxes, they can do whatever they want on their land, meaning they don't need permits to build things on their land. Certain licenses for businesses and other things are, it doesn't matter. They don't pay taxes on anything and stuff like that. That is definitely owed to them for what happened to them, and they still feel that oppression. I mean, the guy from Vancouver, the doctor I played, who was dealing with addictions, heroin, cocaine, crystal meth, and all that. He says the Native Canadians make a small percentage of the population in Canada, and that's because kill their numbers now, get them when they don't have weapons. And that's what they did back in the day. So even if they repopulate, we have way more numbers than them, and we'll keep bringing minorities in so that there's more minorities on Canada's side, so they can't rebel against us. And that's just something I'm saying out loud. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just thoughts that come to my head as I talk. But they feel all that slaughter and that injustice still today within them, because every ancestor that's ever passed on, and especially, and it depends on the tribe and the Native American, whatever they are. Here it's Mohawk. That's a Mohawk tribe. That's why you don't see too many people in my hometown having an actual Mohawk, because, a fucking native will be like, you're wearing a Mohawk, and it's like, unless you're a punk that likes Rancid and you're old school or something like that, you might be able to get away with it. But other than that, it's like, get that fucking thing off your head. So, but they feel what happened to them from their ancestors as they're alive, and their traditions actually take that into account. See, us, whatever your nationality is, race or whatever, let's say and I'm just speculating because I'm not a black person, let's say you're a black human being or an African American human being. Well, you may have had ancestors, and you probably most likely did have had maybe an ancestor line that was somewhere down the line oppressed through slavery and definitely felt racism. Let's say, like, because after slavery was abolished, racism was still disgustingly awful, let's say, in the States. And I don't know because I wasn't there. I'm going by the history books and some movies and documentaries and information and and testimonies from people who talked to their great grandmothers and the grandmothers, about 20 years ago, that were telling the story about their great grandmothers and shit like that. So they can still feel all that racism and that hatred that was put on them, even though it's not necessarily happening to them. There obviously is still racism. We know that more now than ever. And it's something that's been on the back burner and that has to be dealt with, and might be why Black Lives Matter is coming out. Now, it could be also to, during this COVID-19 thing, get people to stop focusing about COVID-19, get a bunch of people out, and then you can blame all the people supporting Black Lives Matter. Big Black Lives Matter movements. How racist does that sound, though? Black Lives Matter movement comes out And let's let all these fucking minorities go out there and protest during this pandemic, but everybody else stands out with a mask on. You know, it's like, it's, anyways, I don't even want to get into that because it's so polarizing, and I have nothing against any fucking buddy. Anybody. Okay, your sex, your gender, your nothing. It doesn't matter to me. We can hang out, we can chill, we can be friends. I don't give a fuck. I want to be friends with everybody. Even that motherfucker I hate. I'll even go that far. The guy that tried to get my wife, him, I might, you know, if I saw him, I'd probably kill him or beat the shit out of him. But I would like to be his friend at one point. I know that. I can put my bullshit aside and say that, you know, he doesn't know me. So it's not personal. He saw my wife and was attracted to my wife, and she's a very attractive person. And her personality will get you. You know what I mean? She's just so beautiful inside and out. So I can't even blame him for that. And in a sense, because he didn't meet up with her that night, because it hadn't happened, and, you know, I'm so grateful that I grabbed that phone and nothing was able to occur. You know, I kind of say, well, he was being a piece of shit. He used the line that he wouldn't ever do that to her. Yeah, he wouldn't meet up with her and shit like that. You know what I mean? So, I say that often, and it's like, actually, I should be fucking grateful for that. I should seriously be grateful for the fact that he never actually slept with her. Because that's something that couldn't be undone. And, you know, if that had been done, you know, because I was so angry about just her speaking to him and, you know, having 2 play dates and then trying to meet up with him and just hang out without kids, you know. God only knows what happened, but I know my wife pretty well, and I don't think she would have slept with him. Well, have they kissed? Maybe they would have kissed at something, but I don't think they would have slept together because I know how she is. But I'm grateful that that's never happened. I'm so grateful that that possibly we are I'm free from that have ever occurred. You know, it's never happened. So that's amazing, and I should be grateful for him for that he said one thing and did another. And as much as that's not nice, and it's playing with her heartstrings while I was not here for her, it's still something I'm grateful for, because, you know, I don't like the fact that he hurt her when she was trying to, that's how much I love my wife. You know, even when she's trying to go to another man and not be faithful to me, this guy, she thought she liked and liked her, and then he kind of played with her heart and didn't want to be with her. You know what I mean? He was just running game to try to get in her pants those other times. I mean, and that's the thing, you say, well, he went on a play date, like a play date, he's not trying to get in her pants. No, but if you're a parent and you got kids, I mean, you go let kids play and have fun. You know what I mean? That's a break. That's not even him trying to hook up with her. That's just a break. Let's go play and let your kids play. But at the same time, it lays the foundation. It's like hanging out with somebody and getting your kids to play together. And, you know, this way it's like, yeah, look, I don't know you without having sex with you, so I'm a good guy. But whenever he was talking to her that one day with the drinks and over the text and shit like that, he was trying to get into her pants only. He wasn't caring about other shit. So that pissed me off. It's like, fucking, not only were you trying to be my wife, but you were just running game on her, making her feel like you wanted her and you don't. Now she feels that, and it hurts. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. You know, because I love her and she knows that. But, you know, maybe it's not enough sometimes. Maybe sometimes you just need to know that other people think you're attractive. She's looking for validation outside of herself once again. She doesn't think she's beautiful. I tell her she's beautiful, and she just, well, he needs to say that. It's what she thinks, and it's not fucking true. I don't need to fucking say that. I'm so attracted to it. It's unbelievable how fucking much I'm in love with my wife, and how much I can't stop touching her when I'm around her. You know what I mean? It's to the point where I don't even know what to do when I'm beside her. Like, I want to squeeze her. I just want to be with her, you know what I mean? And it's just, there's no way I can put into words, and I can't even symbolically show how much I care for her when we're together. You know what I mean? And do things. So, you know, I do all those other gestures. I give her flowers to show her shit, give her compliments continuously. And it's like, maybe she thinks it's fake, but it's not. Anyways, I'm way off the topic. But all that's to say that if you are a minority and people have been oppressed, which probably everybody's been oppressed at some point, you feel that. And like the natives here, they're the ones that are a lot in jail, and there's a lot that are addicted to opiates and cocaine and shit like that. Now, there's a lot of people, Canadians that are, Canadians, but Caucasian Canadians. But when you look at the percentage of people-wise, there's more of those people there. And is that because of the deep hurt they feel? Or could it simply be, like the doctor said, that not getting those neural pathways created as a baby? And it's a little bit of both, because he said his weren't created correctly as a baby, and that's why he had an addiction to working in classical music. He was looking for that because he felt his mother's sadness, fear, because they were being oppressed and rounded up and killed in concentration camps. When he was a baby, he felt that. So, but as a baby, he just thought mommy didn't want him. But mommy was just scared for him. You know what I mean? Very fragile, the mind is. So, all these baby natives, when they were babies, they not feel the parents' love because the parents are being oppressed, and that's passed on through generation to generation. Probably has something to do with it, yeah. It's not necessarily that they wake up and they feel all the pain now, which they probably do, but it's when they were a baby, they felt their parents' fear and whatever else. So, war, keep fighting wars for you oppress me, that's not what I'm trying to say. It's good, but sometimes you actually need to fight. I don't care what the slogans are, I don't care what people say. There are times when you're backed up, you need to do something, and then sometimes you have to fight. That's why it's a possibility, but it's not something that should be overexplored. Let me get something straight right now. When I talk about negativity, negative side, when I talk about this negativeness or whatever, the fear, saying fear is a necessary thing. It's not something you use all the time. It's not a state you stay in all the time, but it's a state you need to understand and use to your benefit. It's like everything else, and that's what I'm going to get into today. And I want to get into that. We'll start getting into it right now. First, I gotta go fix the point.
What else? Eric Wojcik. He is giving me a command. This is not a command. This is a question and answer. Question and answer means you ask a question. You don't tell me what to do. He says, talk about Kundalini. I am not your servant. If you have a specific question, ask me. You haven't even said anything in specific about Kundalini. What I will say, since it serves my purposes, I will say that in this 90-day challenge, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating a synthesis where you will be able to stimulate Kundalini, you will be able to stimulate prana or chi, you will also be able to access and stimulate the unconscious, and you'll be able to synthesize all of that to be able to do what I think we're here to do, which is to intend our reality. So let's talk about what Kundalini is. Eric gave me that command, but I will answer it anyway because, as I said, it serves my purposes. So there's a difference between Kundalini and prana, which is chi, life force energy. Kundalini is not the life force energy of the universe. Go on to YouTube, type in what is Kundalini, and you will get no shortage of people who will come on, and the first thing they'll say is Kundalini is the life force energy of the universe. They have no idea what they're talking about. Kundalini is not the life force energy of the universe, but it is stimulated by the life force energy of the universe. Kundalini is specific to human beings only. Human beings are the only created physical entities that have Kundalini. You don't even have, as a spirit, spirits flying around don't have Kundalini. Kundalini does not bring enlightenment. The knowledge of Kundalini can open a doorway to enlightenment, but only after you have transcended Kundalini. Kundalini is directly associated with the nerves and the spinal column and the brain. Kundalini is the self. So we've talked about the constructed self, which is the self that you create with your mom and your dad and society and brothers and sisters in order to create an avatar self that can navigate this world, and then you have to evolve that as you grow up. And to make it simple, all psychological problems and disorders are the inability to evolve the constructed self. When you can't evolve that, then you have a problem. Then you've got some kind of insanity or issue or emotional problem. So this is the benefit of working with Kundalini, because Kundalini is the human, physical, psychological energy of the human being that gives you the experience of I am a limited individual. It's why Kundalini is wrapped up at the base of the spine. As Kundalini travels up the spine, it goes through these areas we call chakras. And there's usually a knot, and it has to go through a knot. When it hits a knot, let's say in the navel center, for instance, once it hits the navel center, it hits the knot there, and it has to break through, and you have to open up the chakra, open up the knot. That is done by becoming mature in the psychological realm that is associated with the navel chakra, which has to do with individuality and power. So somebody can have a very strong navel center and be like a very powerful king or warrior or general, but they haven't achieved enlightenment in that area, especially if they are abusive or controlling. That shows somebody who's in their navel center, but they have not evolved. Because the lesson of the navel center is, I have to go out and be an individual and achieve my mark on the world. And that's right, I have to do it in a loving, constructive way. So somebody who has achieved it in the navel center will be a warrior who dies selflessly for others. He has his individuality, but he can sacrifice it for the good of other people. That'll be, people who die in battle physically, literally. That's what they learn. They learn that in that lifetime, and they don't have to do it again. I'm pretty certain that's something I've done in a previous life, because in my entire life, I have always had this awareness that I can never harm physically another person. And when I don't think they have the selective service anymore, but they still had it when I was in high school, and I had to go and sign up for the draft, which is selective service. And I remember making the decision that, I'm going to sign up for this, but whatever I end up doing, I am going to make sure that I do not carry a gun and I don't harm anybody. And I will make that, and I looked at all the different things to avoid the draft and all the stuff, the legal things, and I decided I'm not going to avoid serving, but if I serve, I will never harm another human, because it's, I'm not going to kill somebody who's fighting for his country. It's not his fault that, back then it was communist. It's not his fault that he was born in a communist country and he has to go fight. I'm not going to go kill him for that. It's not his fault. Obviously, I've learned that lesson in a previous life. So each one of the chakras has its own lesson. The heart chakra, for instance, people really focus on opening the heart chakra. Well, that's great. But if you haven't learned the lesson of the heart chakra, then what will happen is that you will very easily fall into a cult. Because a cult wants what the heart center wants, which is to connect with everybody. But it does it from its own narcissism, which is, it says, you need to be part of my religion. I found Jesus. I found Krishna. I found Buddha. Those are three ones that are very easily that get kind of cultish. And so, yes, I found the truth by worshiping so-and-so. And if you want to have the truth, you have to be part of our thing. And then you have to come to our big, giant church service. And we all have to, wipe the ceiling with our hands. And, now we're all together. That's the heart center when it's immature. When it learns the lesson, when Kundalini has traveled through the heart center, then the person goes, oh, we're already one. I don't have to have you be part of my religion. And Krishna's really cool, but you can worship Buddha or Shiva or Hanuman. You can worship whoever the hell you want, and you'll still get the same benefit. Now you've learned the lesson of the heart center, and you can move up to the throat. So that's what Kundalini is, and Kundalini is absolutely necessary in order to be able to achieve the knowledge of the true self, which is beyond Kundalini. Kundalini is actually part of this 5%. When you die, your Kundalini dies. So this idea that Kundalini will bring you enlightenment is only true to the extent that you transcend beyond it and find your true soul. You can use the self to overcome the self. Odin did it. He sacrificed himself to himself. We could say he had a Kundalini awakening. He sacrificed his Kundalini, his self, to himself, his soul, his larger self. So those are my thoughts about Kundalini. Rohan Kapoor question, is Christianity a Roman conspiracy promoting slave mentality? Yes. All you have to do is watch my videos. So let me just give this out. If you really want to benefit from Kundalini, his self, to himself, his soul, his larger self. So those are my thoughts about Kundalini. Rohan Kapoor, question, is Christianity a Roman conspiracy promoting slave mentality? Yes. All you have to do is watch my videos. So let me just give this out. If you really want to benefit from my channel, coming on and asking questions is great. You will get a lot further with me if you've actually spent the time watching my videos and or reading my books. There's no shortage of videos on my channel about what Christianity.
Right, what's going on? I'm laying in my bed now. So Kundalini. I want to talk about Kundalini. Get into a little bit about prana. I want to get into a lot about fear. And the reason why I say I'm doing this before the whole love spell, love casting, and all that shit is because if you have fear, if you don't understand and are doing some kind of depolarization training, you can still cast for the love spell thing I'm going to tell you to give you examples of and words and all that shit, but for the most part you're not going to be able to, you're going to have a hard time forgetting about it, letting it go, having ultimate faith that it can come to you. So I want to explain using Kundalini a little bit and how certain aspects of it are real and other aspects of it are a trap. Not really a trap, but maybe not understood. Maybe somebody wants to feel important and pretend like they understood it and understood stuff, and I don't know. And do I completely understand prana? Well, how can you? It's something no one can see, measure, or anything like that. But it's the thing that's in your breath. See, the element of air, I can say that's oxygen. We can say carbon dioxide is part of that because that's the type of air that the trees breathe. The air that the trees give out is what we breathe. You know what I mean? They're creating oxygen, and we exhale carbon dioxide is what they breathe. We live in a symbiotic relationship with trees. Is there already oxygen in the atmosphere and all that here? Yeah. Can we be killing it off and using it all? Absolutely. So do we need trees? Yeah. Simple as that. But oxygen alone isn't the only thing that's there. Now this is why the element of spirit and breath and air in Latin and Greek and a lot of other of the older languages are the same word. Spiritus means breath and shit like that. And it's because, the air is the element, and there's the elemental, which is the spirit of air, okay? But then, and that's the same, fire has that, and water has that, and earth has that. There's also the other element of spirit, which is kind of in the same direction, very close to anyways. So you got east, west, and then north and south, and then you have spirit pointing somewhere between, well, I guess if you want to get technical, it would be between east, it would be between the fire and the air, as far as I know. Or maybe it could be between air and earth if you want, I guess. It just, that's up to you. But there's an extra aspect to that, and that's where I think prana comes in, is that spirit part that's connected with air, but it's not the air element. In prana, if you want to do stuff with it, because prana is, to me, a lot closer to the life force energy of the universe. Yeah, I don't think that's accurate. Because I said there's it's 95% of Thunderwizard says this too. I think I have a video a long time ago talking about this. Some sound effects I heard from Great Raven or something like that, dark matter. We don't understand dark matter. But anyways, we heard it from Thunderwizard, so when I rehear things I kind of know about. And maybe I heard it from him first, I don't know. But it is a great and important statistic to understand, and prana is something we still want to understand, but we still can't see. So it would probably be part of that fucking dark matter that flows through us. And here's the thing, dark matter that flows through us, I like to think, and this could be completely wrong, it's just my interpretation, and I'm just speculating here, but when you do something like the microcosmic orbit, which is using chi, prana, and you're using your will and your imagination, you're not putting any of your There's no emotion into this. You're not using any emotion to make this happen. You're using only visualization and will. So you're using both air and fire, like I just said. Well, then, between the air and the fire is where you get that extra spirit thing, right? Prana. So you're channeling prana. This is just how I interpret it. It may be helpful, it may not be helpful. But when you get in between those two, you're using air and fire. So you're using your thoughts and visualizations, and you're willing that around you, your visualization. So you're controlling it. And you see the colors. You make it go the right way. Microcosmic orbit. You bring this. It starts within you, sorry. It doesn't even start from there. It starts within you, which is kind of why I think Kundalini sometimes gets confused with this, because they don't like to say Kundalini is your chi, and she's a life force energy. And I don't think so. I think prana is. Sorry, I kind of fucked up what I said. I think prana and chi are a little different, but I could be wrong. The way I okay, sorry about that. Phone cut off. I had to make some space on my phone. So, microcosmic orbit and the life force energy that we have, the chi, okay, it comes from inside your you're using it. You first focus on your Danantian, okay, Dantian, I believe, Danantian, around the navel. And if you read books like from fucking Mantiak Chiaman, I can't think of his fucking name, but he's one of the guys that's teaches the microcosmic orbit. I don't know if he originated it, I don't think so, but he teaches a whole lot about it, and maybe he did. Can't remember the books, but there's Kigon and Kunji is one of my favorite books. Not like, it's probably top 5 of one of my favorite books, because these practices really make a difference. So anyways, the microcosmic orbit, it's like when you breathe, you inhale the oxygen, you exhale the carbon dioxide, and then this is how I perceive it. This is how it works for me. I don't care if you don't agree, but this is how it works for me. And the prana comes out of whatever you breathe in, and it gets stored into your Danantian. I fucking hate pronouncing that word. So whenever you do the microcosmic orbit, you first see the energy swirling around in your Danantian, and from there you get it to swirl outwards. And it first goes to your sacral, and then it goes to probably the root, I forget the name they use, and then it goes down to your feet, connecting above and below your feet. Then it goes back up to your root, then it goes back up to your navel, but on the back side, behind you now, basically, behind you, and then it goes up to the back side. It's they have such a nice word for the one on the back side. Anyways, but it's the opposite side of the Danantian, and then it goes up to the bottom of your neck, then up to your crown, then at your third eye, and from here, very important, it comes down, but then you put your tongue at the roof of your mouth to block it from going inside you, and then it comes down into, or it goes to your throat, and then it goes to your heart, and then goes back, or it goes into your throat, then your heart, then your solar plexus, and then back to your Danantian, and you keep this going around. Because normally what happens is it comes up, around, goes inside, and gets stuck, comes back up, and goes back the same way down, which is why people don't get anything into their, I mean, this is all up to you, it's all up to your interpretation, but basically, instead of it coming, okay, normally it comes out, without doing the tongue thing and visualizing it going around you in one solid way, or switching it and doing the other way with your will and your visualization, what happens is it comes into you, goes inside, and then comes back out, and it starts going the opposite way, and then you have one coming in, going in the other way. So, and it's funny because then it makes like this yin yang symbol, basically, and then you got it going strictly around. You're in control of it, and helps open up all your centers. And these are one of these practices that help open up all your centers, get you depolarized, get you stop thinking about black and white and good and evil and girls and guys and all this uneven shit. So, all right, back in my room. Let's do this. Let's keep this going. Okay, so all the uneven shit I'm talking about is simply, polarizing shit. So I was thinking about the dark matter is the dark matter. We know our air is oxygen and carbon dioxide. One comes in, another one comes out. The reason why carbon comes out with the O2 because the oxygen is coming out. See, I shouldn't talk about this and get on a different thing I'm supposed to even not talk about, but we inhale oxygen, and then when we exhale, there's a carbon atom that goes out with it. That's the secret to losing weight, by the way. Carbon. We're made of carbon. That's why the 666, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. When you exhale carbon, well, the more carbon you can exhale, the more fucking weight you can lose. You need just as much oxygen in as carbon is going to go out. And the tree does the opposite. The tree takes in the carbon and it keeps it within it and exhales simply oxygen. We do the opposite. We take in oxygen and we exhale carbon. So it's like the tree needs the carbon, we don't. Okay, something to that effect, and you can go down that rabbit hole if you want. I've looked into it, and I'm not going to tell you what I found because, you know, whatever. But microcosmic orbit is one of those practices that will really boost you up. And I like to think of it as I would do the middle pillar, and that is bringing in energy into me. Now it comes right down to me. Malkuth is at my feet technically, but I think of it as a way of getting in energy from, you know, the cosmos. But I've brought into life egregores, thought forms, with the microcosmic energy as well as the middle pillar. And let me tell you, those ones tend to get your results faster. But anyways, so what is Kundalini and what is Prana? Well, Kundalini isn't the life force energy of the universe. It's a life force energy that you can use within you. And if you never use it, then you can go on living. Now, there's some groups of thought that say if you don't awaken the Kundalini energy, then you won't last. I forget what gland it is. I think it might be thyroid. Maybe one of the ones up here tends to get smaller in a human being. And whenever that thing is so small and dried up, and it might be the one with the heart chakra. I don't know, or the throat chakra. It's one of those two. I have to look it up. But when I read that, I was like, holy fuck. If it's never been more important than to raise Kundalini energy, well, then this would be why. And I also put this on the same plateau as when the moon enters your sun sign, there's an oil released. And it has to raise up the spine. It's called the Christos, this oil, the Christ, I guess. It goes all the way up to your pituitary gland. Once it reaches your pituitary gland, it comes across, I don't know which way, maybe it's the hippocampus, maybe it's something else, comes across and gets the pineal gland, the third eye, and it helps awaken that. And other people's third eyes are calcified. All these important glands are hooked up to the chakra system. If they're not opened or used, then it will cause you problems. And it seems like spirituality and some of these other little scientific ways, like using the holy science of astrology to figure out when that oil is released in your body and to abstain from sex and different things during that time, help raise that oil up, and it helps illuminate your pineal gland. And I have reverse osmosis water because I was worried about the fluoride in my water and my kids and taking it, and I think it helps. But I think more importantly, this is the process that helps. And once again, when it comes to food and water, those things are definitely important. But the food you eat, if you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to stay healthy, is not going to be as important as the water. And the water you drink is also not going to be as important as the way you breathe. You eat 3 times a day plus snacks, okay? Okay, semi-important. Drinking water. Well, you should be drinking, 8-ounce glass of water a day, maybe 10 8-ounce glasses of water a day, something like that. So that's a little more than the water. But when you breathe 23,000 times a fucking day. And you can't go more than probably 2 minutes without breathing and you're fucking done. But you can go a day without water, without being hospitalized, and even then potentially you can make it for a little bit. But anyways, like a day, and it gets pretty dangerous. Maybe it's 2 days, maybe it's 3 days, something to that effect. You're getting my point, right? You can go longer without water than you can without breath. If you go without breath for like 3 minutes, I think it's like 7 minutes without breath, Saturn's number, without breath, and it's like brain dead. That's why they say if someone dies, well, when you die, you get a release of DMT. And the DMT trip I've had, because I've used things that release DMT. Well, not DMT necessarily. Salvia is a different mind-altering drug. But people that do a DMT, they say it only lasts like 15 minutes. Well, if you were dead on the table for 15 minutes, you'd be brain dead. There's no coming back from that. So the DMT, you didn't get past the DMT trip, and that's a large dose that people are smoking. That was Frater Xavier's point in that thing I played, which in this clip, Thunderwizard says something about this as well. He tells him about people going down in Valhalla and they created their own prison. And that's what I'm telling you. The subconscious programming you get from Christianity and other places is the prison he's talking about that you created in your mind. And that's why you got to banish that shit away, even getting rid of karma. Because karma is part of that. What goes around comes around. But when you die, and you think if you did bad deeds on here more than you did good deeds, well, then you're gonna think you went down. You deserve to go to hell. You're gonna create your own fucking prison. And that's why I'm telling you, get rid of that cause and effect. And you do a cause, and effect happens. And the last thing you do, the last effect is you die. And end of story. And then if for some reason you have to reincarnate, well, that's going to be for the last couple of things you did in your last incarnation that you didn't complete. Well, the cause of you not completing it, the effect of you not completing that cause is, you reincarnate this way. But don't create a mind prison and go down there while your DMT trip's going on. 15 minutes can last a long time in a dream state. That could be an eternity. But anyways, point of all that is, I think that is something that is separate but also important to know when it comes to Kundalini energy, because I don't know if it is connected or not, but I think that's a way to definitely help your pineal gland. Anytime you're raising any kind of energy, whether it's an oil that is released from your lowest gland, your lowest chakra, let's say, going all the way up to your chakras except for the crown, going all the way up, then, it's important. It's definitely important, and you want to be raising these things, not letting gravity take it down. Because anytime you can raise something, well, then you're defying the law of gravity, and that's always a good thing. But I'm gonna read what I wrote here, this one little small part, as this way I can elaborate on what I said in this. So, what is Kundalini? What is Prana? Trapped, dealing with Kundalini being a spiritual milestone. If you haven't done or had Kundalini yet, then you aren't enlightened. Yet, when described as the life force energy of the universe, which is incorrect, prana is close to the life force energy of the universe. It's in the air, we breathe, and with will and fire through visualization, and we can direct through our body and energy centers, microcosmic orbit, and awaken, open, spin, unknot our chakras. And then the two snakes flow up. Once again, one's black, one's white, or male, female, and you are the middle pillar or your spine in control of emotions. And that's not very good because you're not using your emotions in this, and depolarized. If you aren't depolarized, if you I can't even read my own writing. If you are all love and avoid pain, dark, moon magic, fear is bad, then don't expect Kundalini awakening to happen. I believe you cannot experience this unless depolarized. As you open chakras, you need to understand all points of view about the subject or area of the life, the subject or area of life that chakra controls or governs. Okay, a lot to unpack there. So when I say you have to be depolarized for this process, I don't think you have to necessarily be depolarized for it to start. You can have something happen and then potentially awaken a Kundalini energy. And maybe, like I said, every month, maybe you get the chance to raise that up. And, not having sex is one way to not physically lose that oil. But maybe once it starts going through all your chakras once a month, then you need to prepare and actually, how often does it happen? It may not be every month per se, but like every 30-day cycle, you might be, okay, I'm going to do good. And then you start doing good for a week, and then shit goes bad for the next 3 weeks. Okay, I'm going to do good again. Well, maybe it's because the starting point, you can get through your first chakra opening. But then when you get to all the other chakras, you're not depolarized in those states. And then you get caught in these trappings or belief systems or whatever, and it brings you back down. Who knows? But that's what I mean by if you're not depolarized, you're not going to get this process, because maybe you don't look at fear-based media anymore, and maybe you've come to realize that you have a limitation from Saturn, and you've accepted that, and Saturn gives you a little bit of grace, so he reduces the effects of the other planets, and you're doing good. Okay, well then you get to your sacral area, And maybe the Mars energy you have, maybe you're passionate about something, or maybe you haven't found your passion yet, and you can't get past that because you don't know where to look, you don't know how to find it, whatever the case is. Well, then you've got the one open, but the next one you don't have open. And, you know, you have sex with your wife, get rid of that energy all the time, and, you know, you're not really using your passion, will, or action properly. Maybe you're just sitting around watching YouTube videos, working a job, and trying to wait until loving everybody is going to set you free. Sorry, my wife came in. I always get interrupted, but it's all good. So that's kind of what I mean. If you are trying to get your Kundalini awakening, and you, and Thunderwizard also says it in that video, and I hope I have it on there, but it talks about he uses the heart chakra as an example, saying, okay, you get to the heart chakra and you end up believing in only one God or one Christ or whatever the case is, which I like that he says this. And then he ends up saying something like, well, Christ is cool and Krishna is cool, but, you know, you can do this anywhere, and you can follow any deity and all the deities and still reach the same enlightenment. And boom, you pass and you get to go up to the throat chakra, which I think is amazing, and it's kind of what I'm talking about. So every part of the body, or figure of your life, that these planets, energies govern, you have to be depolarized in these 7 aspects. This is why I always say, well, you start off with the 3 model: positive, negative, and centered. Past that model, then you get up to the 4 directions, and then you get up to the pentagram, and then you get to the 6-rayed star, and then you finally get to the 7. And then you can keep going up past that if you'd like, but, you know, for this realm, I think that's plenty. But that's kind of the point. You have to be depolarized in all these areas, and it's going to be different for some people, and your chart's going to tell you where these planets lie, in which part govern your life, which may help this, or it might be standard for everybody. Saturn and the root chakra might be in this for everybody, and maybe their next one, if you think it's Mars energy, then that one governs this, and then the next one being solar, this governs this, and then the next one being the heart, governed by this, then throat governed by this, then pituitary or third eye governed by this, and then crown governed by this. So that's what I mean by this. And if you're not depolarized, because depolarized means nothing, you know, you can look at any subject matter and not have a belief system or programming that's going to push or pull you. Because if you're triggered, then it has something to do with your solar or your sacral or your third eye. Well, then you're not going to get to go up to the next one. You know, these are stacked in order. And the 3 first ones are all those lower base energies. And you have to start from the dark ones, the lower ones, and you have to raise it up to the light ones. And this is why suppressing dark energy, dark everything, is only going to hurt you. It's never going to do any good. So I'm going to read my next part and get into that a little bit. And this one's, I think, 2 pages long. So I'm going to try to get through it all before I start explaining stuff. But it might be helpful for me to actually stop and explain as I go. But before I do that, I'm going to play All Smart, a small part about him saying, because he does, like I said earlier, he doesn't get into fear at all. He thinks fear is lowest energy. It's not useful. You shouldn't be in it, and I agree with that 100%. But in this one, he actually explains that you have to face your fear. From facing your fear, you're actually gonna advance, and that could also play into these chakras too. Because, you know, your first 2 chakras might be easy. You might be very artistic. You might very much know your limits and know that, you know, fear-based media is fucking nothing. You know, and you express yourself very well, and then you get to the solar one, and then all of a sudden it's like you're very shy. You're not the star, you're not the sun, you're not the center of attention, you never wanted that, and because of that you get walked all over. Or what else could that be? Your conscious mind. You don't like your conscious mind. You're one of those people that deny the conscious mind completely. You know, you don't think the conscious is a good thing. You don't think having an ego is a good thing at all. You're completely all about being tranced out, doing your art, and you know what, watching fear-based media and staying in love all the time or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're not going to go any higher than that, you know.
And that's where this is where you have to face your fucking fear. You have to say, no, my conscious mind has to be important. It wouldn't have been given to me if I did have it. And just because I grew up with this identity, and I had bad parents told me it was worthless, and the only thing I did was art, and it got me away. It was my escape, and you know, I never believed in this shit, and I believe I need to love everybody because I didn't get loved, stuff like that. Well, that's useful to somebody, but to you, you need to explore the opposite polarity. You need to explore and know that you're not a worthless piece of garbage, that what your parents programmed you is not okay, but that's not you, and that you can now program yourself to be whatever the fuck you want. And you simply have to find the way to do that, and you got to realize that your conscious mind has to be added to your subconscious mind. You have to use them, that one, to connect it. And saying that the ego and the conscious mind is not good, and saying that you don't want to be, you know, this identity and all that, that's not good. That's like breathing only in oxygen and not exhaling the CO2, or, you know, taking in water and not going to the bathroom after they release it. You know, you can't have one or the other. It's like saying, well, the night is bad, the moon is bad, only the sun is good. Well, yeah, well then how come the conscious mind is the sun and the unconscious is the moon? And how come the subconscious controls more of your body? And that's where the healing comes from, that people want to get into when they meditate. It's controlled by the subconscious mind. It's trying to connect that. So if it's bad, then neither one of these are bad. Neither one of them, and both of them, can be also not good. I've said it before. If you're all love and light, you're going to get walked all over. If you're going to your enemy saying all you need is a big hug, he's just going to shoot you in the face if he's got a gun, or punch you in the face if he doesn't. Like, being too love, being blinded by love and thinking love can fix everything is not going to help you if you're going against someone who's a sociopath. See, narcissistic people, from what I researched, still feel emotion. Sociopaths don't feel emotion. And that's why a lot of sociopaths become psychopaths, who end up only feeling some type of emotion or feeling when they murder. And that's from what I've researched. I don't know everything, but I think that's accurate. But go against a sociopath who can't feel love, who was born like that. Well, you can say, well, then how does he fix that programming? That's beyond my pay grade at this moment. But maybe he's not supposed to. Maybe he's there just to make sure people aren't in love and light all the time, because there is a time to run. And sometimes if you're face to face with a sociopath or a psychopath, and I'm sure it's happened because we know stories about it, well, giving him a hug ain't gonna do a fucking thing. I don't even think fucking Jesus or Buddha or whoever you think is holier than thou, give him a fucking hug, it wouldn't do anything. They would fucking still just murder them. So that's what I want to get into. So hearing somebody like Ralph Smart, who's mostly love and light, but understands that fear is useful and necessary at times, but it's definitely not a vibration or something you want to stay in, unless you need to explore your dark side, unless you need to explore your fears, unless you need to change something about yourself. Then it's not gonna, sorry, I look cool, it's not gonna help you just staying in love and light and suppressing that, because then when you can't control that, you've been in love and light all the time, and you've been suppressing this fear down, and all of a sudden something happens, and you're not going to be able to control it. But if you consciously bring on these feelings or this emotion, or tackle this head on, and it's your choice, then you can control it, and you can practice at it, so that when it does happen, it's not a big deal anymore, and you've overcome it, and then you keep climbing up that ladder, baby. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what Kundalini awakening is. I think Kundalini might be a little different, but I can't tell you exactly, because for one, there's too much different information out there, and I think through various practices, meditations, visualizations, and like stuff like the microcosmic orbit, understanding Qigong, Kunji, Chi energy, all that, using that to flow the prana through you, I think that helps. And but once again, I still think the chakra system is attached to that. These snakes are curling up through something, and that's all metaphorical. There's no real two snakes actually going up through you, but Hermes has that on his staff. Why Mercury? Why? Because Mercury is double. He's an air sign, yet he's got that sign that's like Scorpio. It's the snake is part of Scorpio, and Mercury is also both genders. He's male and female, so he's got the air because he's an air sign. The Sun and Saturn signs are both in Mercury, by the way, and he's an air sign just like them. And then Jupiter. And the moon, well, the moon is definitely in that sign, you can see it, but he's good with water. Like I said, the staff, Hermes' staff, when you see Mercury with that fucking Caduceus stack, it's just that's the magician. That's why it's the #1 card, because when you reach that level, then you're the messenger. You can talk to the gods, and the gods give you what you want. That's a symbolic representation. That's what it means. We all should be like Mercury, depolarized. We're neither gender, but we're both. We're neither polarity, but we're also both. We're not air or water. We're not fire or earth. We're all of it combined. We got this fucking powerful staff, and we can go fast, you know. But anyways, so I'm gonna play Ralph, and then I'm gonna read you what I got and go.
Learn how to love themselves. They subject themselves to being in an arrested state of development. They deny themselves of even oxygen. Everyone's wearing a face mask. They can't breathe. To break free from fear, you gotta breathe in that good ass prana, baby. Let me tell you this. When you do what you are most afraid of, what you are most fearful of, that will help you evolve the most. What? Slow motion this side. So we have to realize that fear is not all bad. It's a gatekeeper waiting for us to rise to the occasion to face it. And we can face it. We can beat it. We can overcome it. We can realize that actually there's nothing to be afraid of. Because what is fear? Fear is a self-created feeling. I repeat, fear is a self-created feeling based on a pseudo-realization that one does not have the capacity to overcome one's perceived experiences. Let me repeat it. Fear is a self-created feeling based on the pseudo-realization, the fake realization that one does not have the capacity to overcome one's perceived experiences. Fear, the reason why you have it with anxiety, it's because of your perception. Your perception creates your reality. If you perceive the world to be a dangerous place, you will always live in fear and anxiety. So we have to learn how to change our perceptions. We have to realize it's all BS, belief.
Hello guys, Elaine here from Brooks, Alberta, Canada. I am originally
Systems. What? Slow motion this side. I believe nothing can harm me. That's an empowering thought. It serves me, but also it takes away fear. If you believe that other human beings are dangerous, they're going to hurt you, that's a limiting thought. And therefore your fear will remain. You see, fear is the jailer. It locks you up. Love sets you free. Fear is the greatest energy vampire. It takes away from you. It steals from you. It's the greatest thief. It takes away your happiness, your smile. And that's why a lot of people on the planet right now have hid their smile away. They've hid their smile away because of fear of COVID-19 and everything else. Not me. Oh, my smile is still here because I'm not afraid. Why? Because it was written. I want to remind you of this every single day. We have to realize this. You can change your mindset, and this will make fear disappear, anxiety disappear. What you consume will consume you. What? Slow motion this side. What you consume will consume you. If you are always consuming fear, you will be consumed by fear. I want to remind you of this every single day, and this has helped me tremendously. Stop justifying your fears. Stop saying, I do this because I'm afraid. Stop allowing your fear to give you an excuse to behave a certain way. A lot of people use fear as an excuse to stay in a certain situation. So fear has become a convenience. We have to stop justifying our behavior with our fear. Because of our fear. Lose the excuses and find a reason to be at peace with yourself right now. Why are so many people afraid right now on the planet? Full of anxiety right now on the planet? Because fear is contagious, because it's energy. So choose who you hang around. Some people are full of fear. Some people are full of fear. You get near them and they pass you their fear. And you got to allow yourself to be around people who only exhibit a love frequency, not a fear-based frequency. Break free of fear and anxiety right now. How did I do it? I realized this, that you have to face your fear.
Training the mind is often quite different to how people imagine it to be. Maybe they have an idea it's about...
Don't run away from it. Face your fear, because it's always going to be there. Face your fears until you realize you're a lot bigger than them. Face your fears until you realize that you're going to catch the thief. And you're going to say, you thief are not going to steal away my smile, my happiness. You're not going to make me afraid of other people. Catch the thief. And look the fear in the eyes. Don't turn your back away from fear. Face it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Because you will find that you will be rewarded when you face a fear. And the greatest reward will be that there was nothing to fear in the first place. What? Slow motion this side. Break your fear. Break free from fear and anxiety. I want to remind you of this every single day. Look for the evidence. Look for the evidence. Look for the evidence. Fear is all in your mind. I told you, worst case scenarios. A lot of people are afraid, full of anxiety, because of everything happening out there. You can't control out there. Focus on what you can control, which is in here. When I switched off the illusion matrix world and focused on what's happening in here, my heartbeat, I can feel it. I realized that, okay, all I got to do is work on creating peace internally, and then it will take care of everything externally. It's just that a lot of us, we are always focusing on everything out there. We forget about what's taking place in here. We have to change in here to change out there. That's how to break free from fear and anxiety. Let me tell you this. Breathe. Woo! Breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Breathe deep from the base of your spine. Practice breathing exercises. Practice breathing exercises every single day. Your fear is in your breath or your not breath. Meditation helps. Someone asked Buddha, what have you learned through meditation? What have you gained from meditation? Buddha replied, nothing. But do you know what I have lost? Do you know what I have lost? Fear, anxiety. What? Slow motion this side. Remind yourself of this. A lot of us, 7-day vegan challenge, we are consuming fear. Fear-based foods, slaughtered animals. And that's why it's called karma, because what goes around comes around. When you are eating animals who didn't want to die and get butchered, their pain gets transferred to you. And that's why a lot of people are full of fear, because the food they are eating is pain food, fear food, anxiety food. And we have to move back to love-based foods, which are sun-kissed foods, which are pomegranates full of vitamin C, okra full of vitamin C, and spinach full of iron. So you're strong like Popeye. Deep divers, break free of fear and anxiety right now. How did I do it? I realized that fear is stored in my body. Fear is not an abstract thing. It's stored in your body over time. And therefore, we have to learn how to develop total body awareness.
Did you know there is one 5-word question you should never ask a woman if you want her to sleep with you, become your girlfriend, or see you as...
If you are always tense inside of your body, that's the fear right there. So you got to loosen up, baby, loosen up. Do a little samba, baby. Then the fear starts to go away. I want to remind you of this as well. Learn how to speak your truth even if your voice shakes. If you are unhappy with what's going on the planet, but you are afraid to speak up, your fear will grow even worse. Because suppression is fear. Suppression is depression. Suppression is anxiety. So we have to learn how to express ourselves without shame, without guilt, and realize we haven't done anything wrong. Stop being afraid to be you. To let go of fear today, we must be ourselves unapologetically. Because the universe will work in your favor. The universe will work in your favor when you realize that being free is your birthright. So do away with fear. Stop watching the fear-based media. Stop believing everything they're telling you about COVID-19 and listen to yourself for once. Come into nature, do a little samba, and then just say, feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello? There. Beautiful deep divers. I'm just... woo! Breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Shout out to everybody who's been getting the wonderful good ass prana shirts at ralphsmart.com/clothes and spreadshirt.com. And if you are a sexy ass model, woo, with no fear, who wants to model the clothing, well, go and buy some. Show me what you got. Got a question for me, deep divers? Add me on the verified Instagram page at official Ralph Smart, at Infinite Waters, and Facebook at Ralph Smart, at Infinite Waters. For more inspiration like this, check out the new book, Deep Divers, Life-Changing Information. Feel Alive by Ralph Smart on Amazon and at ralphsmart.com/thebook. Fear is what is keeping you in a prison. Love is what will get you out. What? Slow motion this side. Have a beautiful day, deep divers. Peace. Infinite Waters, diving deep.
So both fear and love are necessary depending on circumstance, and is why magicians, witches are depolarized. So we cannot be triggered by love or fear, or be manipulated, then taken advantage of by love or fear, and can now use either energy free from belief systems or free from prejudice or judgment. We New Age spiritual magical practitioners have it easy and good to the point we can freely express our beliefs and magic, spirituality, and traditions free from fatal persecution. However, if we were in the burning times or Inquisition, if we were in the burning times or the Inquisition, now all would have been charlatans. We all would have been charlatans, witches, sorcerers, so on. Yet in the spiritual community, we have too many all love or white or good magicians, witches, alchemists. They're all white, good, light beings, whatever, and oppress, meaning suppress dark magicians. So, and we're oppressing and suppressing dark magic or dark magicians, witches. Yet, if you have a belief system programming that fear is all bad and ego is all bad and dark magic, black magic is evil, then you aren't a magical practitioner. You are simply someone who doesn't understand their own energy. Because from your cells to habits, from digestive system to respiratory system, to cold, hot, live, die, both negative, positive, dark, light, banish, invoke, inhale, exhale, is a necessity, and you need to learn how to control your fear, your negativity, and once you understand it, use it to your benefit. Both sides, and true power is when you can benefit yourself and the entire planet and universe by using both polarities when needed. Simply using love and never using fear is like only exhaling without the inhale, or never sleeping because sleeping happens at night. But the conscious mind, and this is something I kind of already said, but the conscious mind is the ego. And, well, that's out during the day. That's what's alive during the day. Well, that's the only time your identity. Subconscious is there during day and night. Motherfucker doesn't sleep. Conscious mind's only out in the day. And people are trying to get away from their consciousness. Well, if they were just their subconscious, they would just be incoherent fucking people walking around on habits only. And there is some people like that. During the day and subconscious is night. Sorry. The moon, dark, hidden, occult. The light, the sun is conscious. And this is how to begin to understand polarity. So, unpack that a little bit and just kind of say what I mean without reading it is, when I say like your digestive system and everything is incoming, outgoing. Everything is, inhale, exhale. You invoke and you banish. And symbolically and just in general, if you are suppressing the ego is attached to your conscious mind. Some people like to say the reptilian brainstem is your ego, but no, that thing activates fight or flight. Absolutely. And that's why dogs can even experience fight or flight when they get in fear. They smell someone and they're scared of them. Little yappy dog is going to start barking his ass off at you. Taking a stand, I'm bigger than you, and then as soon as you go like that, it's gonna run. So it's get the fuck out of there, basically, right? Well, the dogs experience that, and that's the reptilian brainstem. That's fight or flight, but that is something triggered within you when you are in the sympathetic nervous system, which I'm going to get into later on, and that's very important to understand as well. But sympathetic nervous system brings on fight or flight, and it's controlled through your breathing once again, which is why breathing is super duper important. You can control your sympathetic. Anyways, I'm going to be talking about that later on. But what I'm trying to get into here, what I'm trying to say is, by only thinking love is the only way and never choosing to experience your fear, use your fear. Use the dark moon as a way to banish your addictions, for God's sakes. If you're banishing away poverty, you're not performing evil, baneful magic. You're getting rid of something in your life that doesn't serve you. It's no different than banishing away your Christian beliefs if they're not serving you. If they're serving you, then great. If you can pray to God to get money and find your passion and you're happy, then don't listen to me. If you're happy, then you're happy. But if you're not happy and you're going to tell me that your Christian beliefs are good and the boon and doing the stuff I'm doing is of the devil, well, I'm here to tell you that you're not happy, and you're telling me that your way is going to get you the results, even though you've been doing them and you're not getting the results. I'm here to tell you you're wrong. And, you might not want to believe that because you learned this as a kid and it's what you were told, but it's not the truth. So by understanding this incoming and outgoing, this cause and effect, this male and female, this positive and negative, it's all necessary. The negative electrons in your body, the negative and the positive protons in your body, and the positive, and the neutrons in your body, they're all needed. Every single one of them. You need the electrons just like you need the protons, just like you need the fucking neutrons. You need them all. And if you are consciously just going to associate with love, and well, you can say those are protons, let's just say, even though, once again, negative energy is healing, positive energy is, the positive ions are doing the most harm, by the way. And it could be the way people are thinking. They're in love all the time, asking for positive energy, and they wonder why they get cancer, because positive energy is bad for you. So this is the kind of thing I mean. This is why people are imbalanced. People think love, 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 love. And you're right. Love is better than negativity and being depressed and all this shit. Absolutely. But at the same time, sometimes you got to face your fucking fears. You got to deal with the shit that's there instead of just putting it off. You know, your kid's walking all over you and you're not going to stand up to him. And every time, you know, he starts getting a little mad. And let's say your husband, it could be a stepdad, gets involved. Says, hey, that boy needs to learn to respect you. And then he yells at him because you didn't. And it's because, well, we have to go somewhere today. I don't want you guys to fight. When you're going to keep putting it off, it's just going to get worse. Your kid's going to get worse and worse and worse. How is you getting yelled at by your son and you not doing anything going to make anything any fucking better? No. You need to face your fear and stand up for yourself. Make your kid hate you for a little bit, but eventually he'll respect you. This is the kind of shit I mean. And most people in the New Age community that are parents, are all in love and light, have probably no problem yelling at their fucking kids because they instinctively know that that's something you need to do. But then they're going to go around saying, no, only love, only love. It's probably because they don't want people to judge them. But I don't care if people judge me for this. People need to know this, need to hear this. Stop sending people positive energy. It's totally wrong. You're sending someone positive energy, you're sending them bad. If you say positivity, that's different. Positivity has a different meaning than positive energy. Positive energy is positive electricity, positive protons, the things in the circuits, the positive ions coming off of your computer screen and the Wi-Fi routers. That's radiation. Radiation is positive ions as well. That will harm you. And if you're taking too much of that in, or you're sending that to somebody, then you are harming them. Likewise, if you're only in love all the time, you are going to be doing more harm as well. You need to find a balance. And balance doesn't mean 50-50. The right balance might be 20% of the time you have to put on your fear face and go into fight or flight, because maybe you have to walk through a scary neighborhood for a month because your car's broke down. Well, if you're going to walk down there all love and light, then there's going to be a group of guys that are going to stake you out for about a week, get your patterns down, and then fucking rob you. Or worse. And love and hugs and sending them positive energy. Well, if you send them positive energy, that might help. You might actually harm them and they can't do it to you. But sending them love energy is not going to do a fucking thing. They're going to steal your purse and anything else and maybe even hit you. And hopefully nothing worse than that. And then go get high or fucking whatever they do. And I hope I said group of guys, and I hope I didn't stereotype and say any other group. And I'll edit it out after if I did. But I don't think that way, but sometimes shit like that comes out, right? So, and that's wrong. But that's what I'm trying to get at here. Now let me keep going. The moon, dark moon, hidden, occult, light, sign. Okay, I already saw that shit. All right. Kundalini is negative. Kundalini is, holy fuck, interrogating? I know. I don't know what that means. Kundalini is interconnecting or integrating. Integrating. Jesus, I can't speak. I'm sorry, guys. Kundalini is integrating subconscious connection with conscious identity, where ego is, where the ego is. Okay, so conscious is where your ego is. Losing the ego is not what you need to do. You need to learn to use ego, use the male conscious mind, even learn how, when, and why you need to sometimes use, activate, and purposely put on fight or flight, aka sympathetic nervous system, and learn how to be in the parasympathetic nervous system as well, and go and do it consciously. Because if you spend all your conscious time, also known as awake and not asleep time, in the sympathetic nervous system, not only will you die sooner and get sick and have chronic pain, but through repetition, you will teach the subconscious that that's the nervous system to be in all the time, even when you're asleep, which won't allow you to sleep because you're going to be, you can't, when you're in the fight or flight, you can't sleep. Why does cocaine and amphetamines keep you up?
because it speeds up your heart, attacks the nervous system by speeding up breath, putting you in fight or flight. See, the more you fucking breathe in like you're hyperventilating, that's putting you in fight or flight. It triggers that system. It's that simple. Deactivating sympathetic nervous system at night when you should be sleeping. Putting you in fight or flight, activating the sympathetic nervous system at night when you should be in the parasympathetic. So all those trying to lose identity, and I get it, I used to say that same shit. However, your subconscious is alive and works separate and without your conscious doing anything. But if you integrate, add some of your conscious to your subconscious, then you can communicate with the healing part of your body, and put the conscious and put that in the part that, oh fuck man, I can't even read my own fucking writing. This is terrible. Part of your body, and that part that brings happiness, love, money, and passion becomes a reality. And by doing this, you understand the nature and purpose of life and the divine, and we are all in the divine, and that we are all one, and as above so below. And by using your conscious mind as a tool to connect to your subconscious mind, you actually lose the stereotype ego of arrogance and ignorance and persecuting others because you are inferior. All that shit is gone, and you now know Corey LeBlanc is an created illusion entity personification. But at the same time, instead of burying your conscious mind and fearing it and trying to be in love all the time, by not ever being in fear or hate or getting mad, which will never get you enlightenment and is a ticking time bomb. More than that, the more you watch, believe, and through repetition create programming that you have to be a being without a name and only love everyone, you will eventually realize that you can't reach enlightenment or control your reality and go to the church or become an atheist. When if you use breath work to control your nervous systems, between the fight or flight and relaxation and healing, and also known as the sympathetic versus the parasympathetic, also known as controlling emotional state and energetic vibration versus having no control and being triggered and just doing whatever you're having habits and impulses. You then use any of the many symbolic ritual visualizations and will and action and add emotion to speak and implant suggestions into the subconscious and create new habits, programs, and banish belief systems programming that doesn't serve you. So that's a whole lot there, and some of it probably wasn't very coherent the way I was speaking about it, but a lot of it there to unpack, I guess. So first of all, what I started off with was Kundalini, integrating the subconscious with the conscious identity, and I believe that. So once again, your Kundalini has to happen when you're conscious. It doesn't happen when you're asleep. You don't go to sleep and the subconscious just fucking opens your chakras for you. It's not going to happen. So how do you do that? We got to use a conscious mind. And if you're trying to get rid of your ego, well, not going to happen. Your ego is part of your conscious mind. They're connected. And the reason why I think the confusion happens is because more people say egotistical and all this shit and whatever. So for the sake of me doing this now, I'll just say your identity, the Corey LeBlanc
that was created by my parents and everything that was put into there. Like I said earlier, the things people called you and that you took on and accepted, well, no longer. You fucking banish that shit away and you accept what you want going forward. And you start implanting shit you want to put in there. But once again, the simple process of learning breath work, knowing that there are specific patterns of breath, like breathing in for 4, holding that for 4, exhaling for 4 seconds, holding no breath for 4 seconds. Right there. Most people think you breathe in, you breathe out. No. That's good or bad. That's light or dark. But there is air, fire, water, and earth. There is east, west, north, south. There's 4. There's breathe in, hold your breath, breathe out, hold no breath. That's all of those. And you can figure out which 2 of those would be positive on the male and the negative and the female. And that would serve you. That would be a good meditative exercise to do. And put all that together. Figure out which breath is fire and air and water and earth, because this is in everything. You can break everything down into 4s and then 2s and 3s and 7s and everything like that. So point is, that's the way it works. And doing that will put you in the relaxation state, get you into trance after fucking probably 2 minutes. I don't even think it takes that long, but maybe it's because I've been doing it so long. But you do that and you'll see. If you're having trouble pooping, you'll go. If you're having trouble sleeping, you'll sleep. And this works on drugs. I did it. I've tried it on amphetamines. And I can go to sleep just by controlling my breath. It arguably actually kills the high. So I stopped doing drugs. But this is when I first started and I started learning about breath work. I had no idea what I was doing. But it's like, fuck, I never did my fucking thing today. It's like 2 in the morning. Okay. And I go and do it. And after my ritual, I'm high. But then I can sleep. So it works. And it keeps you out of being paranoid. Well, why is that? Well, because you're turning off the fight or flight. Paranoia is a part of those drugs because it attacks the nervous system. Well, what are you doing? You're switching off your nervous system that's putting you in a fight or flight. Therefore, you can do your dope and not even fucking get high. Although I don't suggest that because I suggest quitting dope. But nonetheless, that's the point. And if you think you should be in love and light all the time and you're suppressing the other one, well, think about that. You have 2 nervous systems and they're both fucking needed. You can't just suppress one. And odds are, if you're one of those people in love and light, you're probably in the sympathetic more than the parasympathetic, because it's like 70, almost 80% of people are. The statistic used to be 60, and that was a pretty reasonable number. But now it's more like 70 to 80% of people are in the sympathetic nervous system more than the parasympathetic. And most people at least get a break when they sleep. But if you're the type of person who doesn't sleep long, well, the more you do that, and you're in sympathetic all day, and the less hours of sleep you're getting, well, the more you're training your body that this is the one to be in, and the more you're losing years off your life. So keep suppressing fear and all that hate shit, whatever else that you don't want to deal with because it's too uncomfortable. And yeah, it's not going to get you anywhere. You're going to get fucked. You're just going to get fucked. There's not much more to say about that. You've got to start thinking of they're both necessary. If you want to go to the gym and you want to lose weight, get in a fight or flight. It's better than coffee. It'll wake you up in the morning. It'll get you all wired up. What does coffee do? Coffee attacks the nervous system. Not the same degree as cocaine, but it still comes from Colombia. The same comes from fucking. It stunts your growth. It's a drug. Cocaine's a known drug. People know that. At first, cocaine and caffeine, even alcohol, is a painkiller at first, in small doses when you're not used to it. But then it's a stimulant. So cocaine is a stimulant. Anyways, point is, you can get in the fight or flight and get your breath work going, and that's necessary. You need to do that while you work out. Most people, when they work out, that's what they're in. If you ever try to lift heavy weight and you use some breath techniques when you hold your breath and do shit like that, you'll see how much more you can lift. It's fucking amazing. First time I tried it, I was dumbfounded. But anyways, but what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to relate how negative and positive are in everything. Everything has an aspect to that. And it doesn't matter if you're saying, well, okay, Corey, but I'm just saying we shouldn't hate each other. We're loving each other. So how is that going to fuck up my system and all that? Well, it will. Everything is connected. We're all fucking one and all that shit. All that shit you're saying. If we're all one, we're all connected, then why are you so scared to know your shadow side? Why are you so scared to know the fears of that kid inside of you, that person who has those insecurities? You need to explore that shit and let it out. and be vulnerable and be a human being and stop trying to be a fucking superhero.
Anyways, I have way more to say than that, but my girls are about to get off the bus, and I think I've said more than enough. Fucking hour and a half video now, I think. So I'm gonna go wait for my 2 little girls to get home, and then I gotta do a bunch of renos and shit with the wife. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this shit, and I hope you have a great fucking day. Oh yeah, and explore your dark side. Don't just be in love and light. It's the better state to be in, absolutely, and it's important and all that, and we shouldn't go around hating people. But saying that fear is bad and don't be in fear and all that, okay, that's one thing, but understanding that you need to use fear appropriately, you have to use negativity appropriately. Being depolarized means no one can affect you, but saying love and light is the only way to go and all anti-love is picking a side. Don't pick a side when it comes to that shit. Use both. Sometimes, if there's someone around, like a predator around your kid, are you gonna go give that motherfucker a hug, or are you gonna want to scare that motherfucker away from your kids? You're gonna want to scare him away from your kids. So going to give this fucking pedophile a hug and inviting him in is not the thing to do. Showing him love, it's not gonna change his fucking ways. Someone who's trying to rip you off because they're on coke and they need more money to get high, showing him love is not gonna do anything. He's gonna steal your fucking purse. Yeah, that's the time you need to say, hey buddy, I got a fucking knife. You come close, I'm fucking stabbing you, you know? Get the fuck away from me kind of shit. It's love and light's not gonna help you. But if you have the ability and if you're in the circumstances and everything is going right, then absolutely it's the time to be it. But if you got problems in your life and you're just trying to stay in all happiness. All right, so the last part I was recording, I was going off and I didn't even record, but just like I was saying, so I used this example earlier. If you're a mother or father at home and your kid's talking back to you and you don't want to fucking say anything, stand up for yourself. Well, by putting it off because you don't want to have a bad day, shit's just going to get worse. If you have a partner, a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, and you think something's going on and you don't bring it up to them, well, they're going to keep thinking, if they are doing something, they're going to keep getting away with it. They're going to keep fucking deceiving you, lying behind your fucking back, secret messaging, whatever the fuck it is. They're going to keep fucking doing it. And, you know, the more you don't bring it up, the more they can get away with it. You know, I've been there before. I've done things and lied and whatever. And the more they don't talk about it, the more that brings it up. It's not going to help you anything. You can say, everything is all happy and pretend everything's all happy, but inside, you're going to be torn apart inside. It's going to drive you crazy inside. And you're just a fake fucking happy and fake love. That's not going to help anything. You got to explore that. You got to hit that shit head on. You got to take it on. Your kid is going to get worse and worse. Today, he's going to say, shut up, mom. The next time it's going to be like, fuck you, mom. Next time he's like, I don't have to fucking listen to you, mom. It's just going to get worse. If you don't fucking deal with it, it gets worse. Trust me, I've seen it. It's not the way to go. If you're going to pretend being nice to people and giving them what they want, well, what happens if you keep buying your kid stuff? Well, he wants more and more and more and more and more. It's never going to satisfy him anyways. He's never going to be happy. He's going to, because unless they stopped making things and he had the newest thing ever, then they maybe be happy. But if they're always going to make a new PlayStation or a new fucking iPhone, then he's always going to want the new one. Point is, you can't give people what they want and think they're going to love you for it. And they're going to walk all over you. You can't just hide that shit. You can't just pretend things aren't happening because you don't want to face your fucking fear. It comes down to you. You can blame it. Oh, I don't want to have a bad day and all that. It's like, no. You're afraid to confront them because you either don't want your kid to hate you, whatever the case is. It goes for everything. Like I said, your job at work, if you want a promotion, your boss isn't just going to say, hey, we want to give you more money. I mean, it happens whenever they are in a jam and they need to promote somebody and you're the most qualified, well then yeah. But if you're in a place where, you know, you deserve a job and there's just, they can't afford it, you have to go there and say, you know what? I'm doing a lot around here. I think I deserve a job. I got an offer somewhere else. So unless you're willing to match me, I'm going to go somewhere else. And then if you really are worth it, then they're going to keep you there and they're going to give you the job. But if you don't ask, they're not just going to hand you shit. You can't just put up videos or sit at home thinking all of a sudden you're going to get $1 million without going to buy a lottery ticket or whatever. You got to take those steps. You got to do those actions. Well, the same goes if you're just going to be in love and light and you think one day you're just going to reach enlightenment by watching fucking videos of people saying, hey, if you're just loving everybody and sending out love energy, then you're all good. Don't worry about it. You're going to be good to go. You'll go to that new world, that fifth dimension. Yeah, it's okay. No, it's bullshit. You got to do the fucking work. You got to face your fucking fears. You got all these little fucking fears lying around that you've never head on. Well, then you're never going to go anywhere. I had to face the fear of fucking spirits. I have to face the fear right now of, you know,
Anyways, I won't even talk about that. But I'm currently going through a fucking bunch of shit that I gotta face head on and I gotta fucking deal with it. And it's not fucking easy at all. And some days I fucking fail miserably. But I gotta keep reminding myself, it's better to do those uncomfortable things, ask those uncomfortable questions, get down to the fucking problem. Because if I'm wasting my time with somebody who doesn't want what I want, then there's no point in wasting the time together right now. End it and be done with it and start something new. Or we work on it together. You know, it doesn't matter. You need to go forward and face what is bugging you. And if everything you see, you think the dark moon is evil, you think, no, fear and yelling at my kids and this and that is all evil. It's evil if you're doing it and it's not necessary. But if it's necessary and warranted and you should have did it a long time ago, well, start now. Anyways, I'm going to keep battling on and on and on and on and on and projecting my problems. So I'm going to end it there. But I hope you get the point. I'm not saying everybody needs to be all evil all the time. I'm saying there is a time to use negativity, just like sometimes you need to be in that parasympathetic nervous system. You have to be in fight or flight sometimes. But for the majority of the time, you do want to be in the relaxful, loving state. But there is a time where you need a coffee sometimes to fucking wake up, you know? You can't just shun coffee. You need that, but 2 or 3 cups a day, it's not going to do you any good either. Anyways, find the balance. And balance isn't always 50-50. Sometimes balance is 20-80. You need to fucking, only 20% of the time, you got to be a hard ass. And the rest of the 80% of the time, you can be this nice person. Find your balance that's right for you. And person online saying, oh, this, blah, 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 that, no, this is what it is. Well, that's not you. You're different. Everybody is. You got to figure that shit out for yourself. That's part of your journey. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. I got a whole lot more to say, but I've already been rambling on for like an hour and some, and I got a lot of work to do. So have a great fucking day.